Top 60 Worst Albums of 2025. Number 60, Übermensch by G-Dragon. G-Dragon's long-awaited full-length comeback should feel monumental. On paper, Übermensch has editing, big collaborators, glossy modern pop production, and a Nietzsche-coded concept about transcendence and legacy. In reality, the album often lands in an awkward middle ground, ambiguous but frustratingly inconsistent. Number 59, Is It a Crime by Snoop Dogg. A slick, low-stakes session beer album, smooth, expensive, and rarely offensive, but just as rarely memorable. Snoop still glides into the pocket effortlessly. The problem is that the pocket almost never turns into something you'll remember tomorrow. Number 58, Roll With The Punches by Brian Adams. This album is the musical equivalent of walking into your favorite old diner and realizing nothing's changed. Same menu, same chairs, same playlist, loud, competent, sometimes even fun, but mostly a carefully assembled Brian Adams starter pack that doesn't realize it's 2025. Number 58, Look! I'm Alive by Quinn XCII. This album sounds like Quinn XCII putting the party on mute. Once known for colorful genre blending pop with real personality, Look, I'm Alive trades energy for restraint and hooks for hushed sincerity. It isn't offensive, it's just astonishingly boring. Where earlier records thrive on contracts and clever production, this one feels like an acoustic set that never ends. Number 56, Swag by Justin Bieber. Swag is an identity crisis disguised as growth. Billed as post-Scooter Braun creative freedom, it instead feels like a bloated, under-edited confession booth. Bieber tries to be an indie R&B auteur, devout Christian, horny lover, proud dad, and meme-ready businessman. Often within the same stretch of songs, at 21 tracks, the album collapsed under tonal whiplash, cringe skits, and surface-level introspection. The album sounds gorgeous, it rarely feels meaningful. Number 55, Genesis by Tommy Genesis, a well-intentioned identity album undone by monotony, awkward delivery, and ideas that never fully materialized. Genesis aims for introspection, spiritually, and self-examination, but too often feels like a sketch but stretched to full album length. Number 54, What Happened to the Streets by 21 Savage. With a title that promises grit, reflection, and cultural commentary, What Happened to the Streets ends up as one of 2025's most deflating rap albums. Despite a high-profile role in major features, the project feels disengaged, minimalism without intent, atmosphere without substance. Number 53, Funny Little Fears by Damiano David. Marketed as a bold solo reinvention, Funny Little Fears sees Damiano David step away from glam rock chaos into sleek, introspective pop. The problem? In stripping things back, he also strips away much of what once made him compelling. What remains is polished, accessible, and painfully generic. This isn't a disaster, it's something worse. Forgettable. Number 52, Covers, Collaborations, and Collages by Serj Tankian. This album sounds exactly like its title, a grab bag side project from an artist with none left to prove and very little interest in editing himself. While Serj Tankian has always thrived on an eccentricity and genre collision, Covers, Collaboration, and Collages often feels less like fearless experimentation and more like unfinished sketches released under the banner of artistic freedom. In a post-System of Down world where fans crave focus and urgency, this record instead leans into abstraction, inconsistency, and covers that rarely justify their inclusion. Number 51, The High Road by Kane Brown. Kane Brown is still doing what he's always done best, sounding great. Unfortunately, The High Road feels like it was designed by committee, carefully calibrated for country radio, pop radio, and crossover playlists, without ever committing to a strong identity. It's polished, pleasant, and almost entirely on autopilot. This isn't a disaster, it's just content. Number 50, I Said I Love You First by Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco. A couple album should be a layup, chemistry, intimacy, a clear emotional through line. Instead, I Said I Love You often feels like a mood ballad of modern pop aesthetics, pretty, polished, and strangely shy about committing to a distinct shared identity. The concept is simple, the execution is scattershot and emotionally muted. Number 49, Child of God 2 by Forrest Frank, a sequel that mistakes more for growth. Child of God 2 doubles down on the same feel-good worship pop formula, then stretches it to 20 tracks. It's pleasant, glossy, and relentlessly positive. and that sameness becomes numbing fast. Number 48, I'm Him Too by Kevin Gates. A lean sequel that mistakes emotional repetition for depth and familiarity for quality. I'm Him Too leans on the legacy of the original without evolving it. Reheated themes, recycled flows, and noticeably less urgency. 47, Nomad by DJ Snake. Nomad aims to present DJ Snake as a global curator of modern dance music. Instead, it plays like an overstuffed algorithm-built playlist. Huge in scope, slick in execution, and utterly empty at its core. The variety is undeniable, the vision is not. Number 46, Weirdo by the Rasmus. After decades writing the shadow of In the Shadows, Weirdo was supposed to be a bold reaffirmation of identity. Instead, it feels like the Rasmus filmed themselves down into the safest, most playlist-friendly version of modern alt-rock. Slick, loud, and immaculately polished, yet emotionally hollow. This isn't a comeback, it's a complacency wrapped in gloss. 45, Can't Rush Greatness by Central C. What was supposed to be a global victory lap instead plays like one of the most overcalculated rap albums of the year. Can't Rush Greatness is polished, market-tested, and relentlessly monotonous. An album engineered for worldwide reach that forgets to develop an actual personality. Despite the hype, it exposes Central C's biggest weakness, repetition, emotional flatness, and an obsession with optimization over expression. Number 44, Motel Du Cap by Good Charlotte. After a 7-year hiatus, Motel Du Cap was marketed as a reflective, grown-up comeback. Instead, it mostly plays like a watered-down, adult contemporary version of Good Charlotte. Stuck between nostalgic pop-punk and Spotify core pop rock without fully committing to either. Polished, professional, and oddly lifeless. Number 43, Pink Elephant by Arcade Fire. Once defined by massive communal indie rock moments, Arcade Fire returned with an album that feels oddly small and uncomfortable. Pink Elephant often sounds like a murky Wind and Regine side project, thin arrangements, flat production, and symbolism that reads more like image rehab than artistic revelation. Number 42, Let Me Fly by Rob 49. With Let Me Fly, Rob 49 goes all in on street trap momentum, but at 22 tracks, the album collapses into repetition and fatigue. The beats knock and the guest list is stacked, yet the one-lane delivery and surface-level writing make the project feel like a long loop rather than a statement. 41, The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. Promoted as a glamorous return to pop spectacle, The Life of a Showgirl instead arrives as one of the most confused and underwhelming albums of Taylor Swift's career. The neon and feathers aesthetic promises camp and theatricality, but the music rarely delivers, settling for bland mid-tempo pop, recycled themes, and shockingly weak lyrics. 4, On My Way to Rexdale by Nav. After a 3-year break, On My Way to Rexdale, as expected to show evolution, instead it's Nav slipping right back into his worst habits, monotone delivery, painfully generic lyrics, and trap beats that blur together into background noise. Polished in spots, but emotionally empty and creatively stagnant. 39, Hierarchies by Hierarchies. Hierarchies is a debut that confuses chaos for composition. Packed with technical chops and ambition, the album instead lands as an exhausting blur of ultra-dissonant riffs, clunky transitions, and flat production. Interesting ideas flicker, then get buried under stop-start writing and bloat. Number 38, Play by Ed Sheeran. Play finds Ed Sheeran fully in autopilot mode. Slick, globally branded, and emotionally hollow. Marketed as colorful and adventurous, the album mostly repackages the same wedding ballad formulas in mid-tempo pop he's been selling for years, now dressed up with global flourishes that feel cosmetic rather than meaningful. Number 37, Blame the Chat by DDG. Blame the Chat is a terminally online rap album that confuses engagement with artistry. Framed as commentary on parasocial culture, it mostly plays like lazy influencer rap, trolling over insight, cloud over craft, and half-finished ideas pushed out to feed the algorithm. Number 36, A Complicated Woman by Self-Esteem. Marked as a cathartic feminist blockbuster, A Complicated Woman ends up mistaking scale for substance, choirs swell, slogans fly, and empowerment is shouted from the rooftops. But too often the songs read like merch slogans instead of lived-in stories. Number 35, The Last One by Gunna. Marketed as a defiant post-trial statement, The Last One ends up being a bloated, monotonous drag. At 25 tracks and nearly 70 minutes, it is paddled with filler, recycled beats, and autopilot performances that blur together into one long mid-tempo haze. The biggest issue? Sameness. Same flows, same tempos, same themes, same vibes. Reviewers and fans alike point out how exhausting it feels, with very few moments where the rapping and production actually lock in at the same time. Number 34, For Her Too by Huncho. What was sold as an intimate sequel ends up feeling like 16 nearly identical demos stitched together. For Her Too locks itself into one tempo, one auto-tune cadence, and one emotional note, and never escapes. Number 33, Swag 2 by Justin Bieber. A bloated, cynical sequel nobody asked for, dropping barely 2 months after Swag. Swag 2 magnifies every flow. 20 tracks of samey alt R&B, unfinished ideas stretched into full songs, and lyrics that veer from cringe to outright embarrassing. Critics and fans alike called it stream bait, not a coherent album.